All right, so now we're going to go over something that's a little bit more practical than everything we've already learned about voids, and this is how to actually create something that looks sort of like fish that are kind of swimming around in objects, or maybe they're chasing after something in the water. You can see right here I have an icosphere set up, and I have a lot of little, well, let's just call them fish, but they're actually a plane that's instanced on our emitter. If I click on my icosphere and I move it around, you can see that our fish will begin to kind of swarm around our icosphere. So let me just go ahead and walk you guys through how to set something like this up, because this is a lot of fun and there's a lot of cool things that we can actually do with this method. So the very first thing I'm going to need is some kind of particle system. I'll just add in a plane, scale it down quite a bit, and then I'm actually going to duplicate this plane before we make our particle system, and this will become our fish. Let's go ahead and click on our plane. Let's add in a new particle system emitter. Let's scroll down and change our physics type to voids. Let's scroll all the way down, and we're going to go ahead and set up some things down here. We already have our void brain as separate and flock, so if we press play, we'll just get something that looks kind of like this, which is pretty normal. Go ahead and give this a quick save before we move any further. Now we need something to instance for our object. I'm going to go ahead and take our plane up top. I'm going to scale it out on the Y. I'm just going to tab into edit mode, subdivide just a couple of times, and then I'm going to go ahead to our top down view, and I'm just going to go ahead and take these vertices, maybe scale them down, take these back ones, scale them down like this, and now we have a simple fish. We're just going to utilize this as our fish shape for right now because it's really simple and it won't bog down Blender's viewport. Now go ahead and click on your emitter, scroll all the way down to where it says render, and if it's not popped open, just pop open that tab, and we're going to select object, and then we just need our instance object, which is going to be our fish. And now if we press play, you can see we have a bunch of little fish. Now this actually looks really cool already. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys kind of the settings that I'm going to utilize for this particle system because they're really important. So when you click on your particle system, before we do anything else, just click on your big fish here and hit H to hide. And then we're going to actually scroll up and we're going to take a look at our frame start and frame end. I'm going to keep our frame start at 1. For frame end, I'll just choose 300, so it goes past our timeline. And then lifetime, I'll choose 300, so it goes past our timeline. Now, if we go all the way back to frame 1 and we press play, you can see that we have our fish kind of spreading out. And they already look really cool, even though we haven't really done anything yet. And this is really awesome because there's a lot of really interesting things we can do. And I might just set up a little scene while we do this to show you how you can render something like this out and create a semi-realistic looking flock of fish, or school of fish within Blender. So what we're going to need is we're going to need an object for these fish to follow. So I'm just going to go ahead and add in how about an icosphere to keep it simple. I'll scale it down. I'll just move it up here. Now this is going to be our follow object, okay? So click on your particle system, and we're going to go ahead and scroll down. Now under the void brain, we need to add another rule. Right now we have separate and flock, which are our default rules. I'm going to go ahead and add another one. I want to add a follow the leader goal, and I'm just going to go ahead and select our icosphere for that. And now they should follow the icosphere. But there's one more thing I want to add. Let's go ahead and add a avoid collision rule, and then I'm going to actually click on the voids checkbox right here, which will make the fish avoid each other. So let's go ahead, let's go back to frame 0 or frame 1, let's press play, and now we should see how they'll begin to sort of gather around our icosphere. And as I move my icosphere, you can see how they begin to gather around it. As you can see, the order is also very important down here. We want to make sure it's separate, flock, avoid collision, and then follow the leader. All right, and in order to adjust these, you can use these arrows right here to move a void brain modifier up or down. Now right now you can see how they all sort of flock to our icosphere right here, which is really great. And if I move my icosphere, you'll see that now they'll begin flocking to the left. Now they're quite slow, so let's go ahead and speed them up. Let's go ahead and click on our particle system, and we can do this while the particle system is playing, which is great. Our max airspeed is 10. I kind of want to jump that up to maybe 40. And now you can see they're really quick now, but they're also kind of just all over the place. So I kind of want to adjust a few settings to make these things appear a little bit more natural and lifelike. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to find the miscellaneous tab, and I actually want to adjust some of these values. I think I'm going to raise a couple of these values up, and I'm going to see how it affects our voids. I'm going to raise the pitch, the height, and the banking up. Now, I love experimenting with these because you can get a lot of really interesting results this way. I also want to scroll up and I want to go ahead and adjust this personal space that the fish have, which is basically the space between each fish. Notice how when I raise that value to 3, they now really kind of avoid each other. They want to have that personal space as if you do in real life. Don't get too close to me. All right, I'm a fish just trying to swim in the ocean. But if we lower this back down to 0.1, they're going to be a lot closer, and they're not going to be afraid to get very, very close in order to follow that object. So in a way, this is also a really good setting to actually have them kind of cluster together here. So you see as I move this, look at how close they're now all going to get together as they form around our icosphere here. And this just looks so cool. And this is a super simple and easy way to set up a simulation like this. You can use birds, you can use fish, pretty much anything you want to, and it's going to look awesome. Now remember, a lot of the most important settings are within the physics tab within Boids. Of course, we have our allow flight, land, and climbing. Those are very important. And we also have things like our miscellaneous tab, our relations tab, and our Boid brain tab. They're also important as well. Boid brain is probably the most important because that's where you're actually going to add in your rules for your Boids to follow. And then the rest is really up to you when it comes to creativity. You can decide how many particles you want in the regular emission category up here. If you want more, you can add more. Let's say we only want 30. Let's go ahead and add 30, and let's see what it would look like with about 30 fish here. Not too many, and you can see they're going quite slow. Now, a little trick, if you want to, let's say you want to have a lot of fish up front, you can actually adjust this frame start to a negative value. So I could adjust this to -300, and when I start out, I should already have some fish in my scene, because Blender is going to take that negative frame value and pretend that the simulation started before frame 1, if that makes sense. So I want you guys to play around with this. I want you to adjust the amount of particles. I want you to adjust the type of fish or animal that's being emitted. Have fun with this one. This is probably one of the coolest things you can do with particles in Blender. So have a blast. And if you guys have questions, make sure you leave a comment so that I can answer them, because this can be a little bit tricky to set up. But have fun with it, guys. Go ahead and set up a cool simulation and let me know what you come up with.